The other major story tonight, Leland, is back to the border and the crisis at the southern border right now. President Biden is going to meet virtually with the president of Mexico. NewsNation's Kelly Meyer is joining us live tonight from Washington. Kelly, talk to us more about what they're going to be discussing at this really pivotal, critical time as we see this surge at the border.
Well, that's right. It's just like you said, this is a crucial, pivotal time. This call couldn't come at a more important time as the immigration crisis rages on. Mexico says U.S. asked for this call. President Biden is set to meet virtually with Mexican President López Obrador tomorrow afternoon, virtually in the Oval Office. The two are set to discuss the 9th Summit of the Americas. That's coming up this June in Los Angeles. They're also set to talk about joint development efforts in Central America, also security, economy, and energy. The issue of migration is set to come up, but the White House says that won't be the main focus. This as Title 42, the Trump-era pandemic restriction that prevented asylum seekers from crossing the border due to COVID, is set to expire May 23rd. With that could come a flood of migrants. We're already seeing high numbers. In March, 221,000. That was the most in any single month in the Biden administration. And this meeting is the first meeting between the two leaders in about 5 months. The last meeting was in November. We were there covering it. And even then, the issue of immigration didn't really come up that much and wasn't a main focus there. Marnie and Leland.
And it will be the key focus of this meeting for sure. Kelly Meyer, thank you.
Thank you.
They believe you're a traitor. They compare you to Benedict Arnold.
Executing a plan that results in record levels of fentanyl and other drugs entering our nation. Executing a plan that stresses our border agents, stresses our education and healthcare system, stresses our nation. All done intentionally.
Are you ashamed for what you've done to this country?
It is so profoundly offensive. I won't ask you for an apology.
Don't.
Well, I don't think everybody's going to get together for drinks tonight. Do you?
I don't think so.
No, so that was Republicans in the House Judiciary Committee. And typically these hearings are supposed to be asking questions. Now it's sort of turned into making campaign speeches so you can fundraise on Twitter and with your email list, lecturing, for lack of a better word, Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas, as he was talking about his agency's handling of the crisis at the southern border. There clearly is a crisis. Secretary Mayorkas, though, continues to insist the Biden administration has the border crisis, in his words, under control, effectively managed. Robert Sherman down on the border for us tonight. Is there anything that you see down there to show that this is under control or being managed?
I got to tell you, Leland, we've spoken with a lot of people in law enforcement over the last couple of weeks, and some of these phrases that we've heard today, operational control effectively managed, we've yet to meet anybody in law enforcement who agrees with that sentiment, because all day long we've been standing in the same location and we've been seeing one migrant crossing after another. Sometimes people just wade right across the river in groups of 10 to 15 people. Some people end up battling the currents over here, which aren't too far away. It gets pretty dangerous down here on the Rio Grande River in order to make it over here. But whether it's Border Patrols saying that they're overwhelmed and their agents, because of how overwhelmed they are, don't have the ability to patrol, whether it's local law enforcement saying that there's been an influx of drugs here, nobody that we've spoken with in law enforcement down here contends that this situation is under control. We also want to show you this video, which comes from our friend Allie Bradley, very good friend of the show, an independent journalist. This is the stark reminder of the costs of illegal immigration into the U.S. These are mobile morgues, which local officials in this area had said that were necessary because of the number of migrant bodies that were being found. It's so dangerous to make this journey. There's a lot of ranchers who we spoke with who said that they've woken up in the morning and they've found bodies on their property. So that just goes to show how perilous this can be.
Yeah, no, it really does. And it's clear, obviously, as you look at those pictures of people who have died on the way, that the coyotes and the cartels, who probably are the only ones who have the situation under control, don't care about the people who have paid them thousands of dollars to come across. Once they're across and they've got their money, they don't care if they die.
The other thing, Robert, can you shed some light on sort of the partnership that we're starting to see between the U.S. and Mexico right now? I mean, it's just one layer of how they're trying to tackle the problem and the flow of migrants, trying to train people on the other side of the border on how to handle it, how to contribute in a different way. What are they doing?
Yeah, you have to go back 2 weeks, and you remember that whole controversy over the truckers here at the border, where Governor Greg Abbott forced every truck coming into the U.S. to be thoroughly searched. It effectively grounded the trucking industry to a halt down here. The deal that was made, that was cut between Governor Greg Abbott and these Mexican governors to allow trucking to continue, was that Mexican officials had to step up and start protecting the border from their side. So today was the first time that we actually saw a joint operation, well, a training operation that was taking place down here. That's the goal going forward. It's really only in this area. They're hoping to see it become more common across the border.
All right,
Yeah.
Robert Sherman at the border. Robert, thank you. And that video that Robert was just showing, those were some migrants yesterday when he was standing there at the border who had just crossed the Rio Grande. They had come all the way from Cuba, so imagine how long and how difficult that journey was. And he spoke to them after they crossed through the river and asked about what they'd been through, and it must have been just so difficult. And they said, yeah, but it's nothing compared to what we left behind.
Right.
This was worth it. So that's just kind of the human angle of,
and
how they're
we are
dealing with it.
we are all descendants of people who made that journey to the United States for whatever reason and left behind and came. And especially when you think about the people who have left Cuba and Venezuela and other really oppressive regimes, you do, and I've seen it myself being down on the border, there is a sense of relief when they get across. And they believe that, and rightly so, that America will take them in a lot of cases and give them a better life and a chance for it. Interesting to note that the training that's being done right now between the Mexicans and the Americans is not between the Mexican forces and the Border Patrol, who have the responsibility for the border. It's between the Mexican government and the Texas Rangers and the Texas National Guard, because Border Patrol won't participate.
No, it's the people who are seeing it, who can't do anything about it, who said, all right, this is our plan.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what Grab Out has done.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.